Hey everyone, we're back with the Personal Insight Questions video series where we're sitting down with undergraduate admissions experts who read the UC applications every year, and today's guest is...
Hi, my name is Caitlin. I work with UC Davis Undergraduate Admissions. I'm a public advisor and admissions analyst working with UA but housed in the Welcome Center.
For today's prompt, we're actually covering prompt number 7. So prompt number 7 is, what have you done to make your school or your community a better place? So I want to start off with asking you, what stories have stood out to you? Any examples of something that you've read in the past that answers prompt number 7 from students that just stuck with you, that you still think about to this day?
Yeah, a story that still sticks out with me to this day is actually a pretty common one for a lot of students who are applying to the UC campuses, and that's immigrating here with their family and being the only one that speaks English or has a strong grasp on the language. So you become sort of like this translator for your family. You're translating lots of big documents from a young age, or maybe an older age, but still it's a lot of responsibility to bear. But the student was talking and recounting on those experiences and sort of using that past to also guide them in the future and saying, hey, in the future and also in my current present, I'm advocating for families that have immigrated here by being their primary translator, by joining clubs for AB 540 students or undocumented students and their families, and they help out at community events as well. And they use that as their experience and tied it into what they wanted to do here at UC Davis, but also just in general for any of the UC campuses, since most of us have undocumented centers. So that was the story that stuck out.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. And like you said, it's very common, like I'm also a first-gen student. I also had to translate stuff for my parents.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a skill that, like, I don't know, sometimes people don't put on their resume, stuff like that, but it definitely stands out. Like, it's something, especially like, as a young person, like a teenager, to be doing that, that's a huge burden. Like, that's a lot to take on.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to it's hard to reflect that on a resume and in personal insight questions as well, because it is such a common skill, but don't really know how to market it, but it is a skill nonetheless.
Yeah. And it's good to know that, everybody who's reading the UC applications takes this into consideration and really considers students, like, how well-rounded they are in various aspects, right?
Yeah, because eventually you're going to be part of the UC Davis or any of the UCs that you get into. You're going to be part of their community, so we sort of want to know what you plan to contribute to the community. So that PIQ is especially important to highlight other aspects of not just academics for you.
Right. Okay, so the next question I want to ask you is if there's any tips, anything that you advise students when approaching this prompt, if they choose to go with prompt number 7, any tips that you might have?
Yeah, so if you choose to go with prompt number 7, a lot of students tend to use this to list their accomplishments, which is great. This is the PIQs, or the personal insight questions, are exactly the place where you want to list your accomplishments. But you want to do so with a way that also provides with reflection. So what does this accomplishment mean to you? How does it shape you as you are now, but also how is it going to shape you in your UC journey? If you haven't had a chance already, as a student, check out the Principles of Community for all the UCs. They should be very similar, but the community question is going to really inform you inform the person who is reading the application on what you're going to contribute to the community. So you should probably check those out and provide some reflection in the personal insight question.
Awesome, that's good to know. That's good advice for students that are applying to UCs. So the next thing I want to go through is, I'm wondering if there's any red flags, anything that stands out when you're reading prompt number 7 that maybe students should avoid doing when they're going through this personal insight question.
Yeah, some red flags for this one is just in general, not really talking about how your experience has made the community or your school a better place, but instead saying how it benefited you, which is great to talk about and touch on. But really, the root of this question is, what did you contribute? And you should always be writing with that at the forefront. Is, what did I do to contribute, and how does this highlight aspects of my personality or aspects of my work ethic or drive that I want to highlight, while still talking about the actual people that you impacted and served.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you so much. All right, so we're just going to end off with one last thing. Is there anything that you have to say for students that are currently applying to UCs? Any words of affirmation, motivation for students to keep going?
Yeah.
Anything?
Something that I always ask myself, is kind of like a life motto for me, is why not you? The question of why not you. So if you're doubting yourself, or you're not really sure if what you're writing is good, or if you're belonging to this community, or you don't really see yourself being a part of the UC community, ask yourself why not you as sort of the forefront of your writing, because I mean, in reality, you're supposed to be here, and everyone has their path, whether it's UC or not. But yeah, so I would advise you to lead with that at the forefront.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much, Caitlin. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Personal Insight Question Tips.